If you've ever been a renter, you know it's stressful to find a place with everything you love and nothing you don't. But did you know Zillow does rentals? It makes the search so easy. They have filters for pretty much everything, so you can find that place that's in your budget, but also isn't a shoebox. Or a place that's close to your parents, but far enough they have to call first. Plus, it's easy to apply, request tours, and pay rent in the app. Head to ZillowRentals.com and find your sweet spot.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Good morning, Hoop Ballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Ball's DFS today. This is your Tuesday, July 20th edition. We have Game 6 of the NBA Finals for you. I am your host, Santino. I'll be running this one solo for you guys, and we have a good one. The Bucks are up 3-2 in the series. They have won 3 consecutive games. They took Game 5 on the road after a 16-point first quarter deficit. They actually outscored the Suns by 19 in the second, then just didn't let up after. This series has been fantastic. Nothing short of fantastic, I should say. Game 6, I expect similar awesomeness, if you will, and a potential Game 7. We'll get to that soon. Before I get into the DFS part of it, I do want to give a shout out over to our guys at MyBookie, simply the best sports book around. If you're not familiar with MyBookie, you should be. We have still a couple games of the NBA Finals possibly to bet. All baseball season. Football is right around the corner. The Olympics. Anything that you want to bet on sports related, you can. Any type of sports bet you want to make, you can. And they have a fully fledged casino platform right at the edge of your fingertips. All table games, slot games, virtual and live dealers. It is absolutely awesome. I can't get enough of it. But when you're signing up, enter the promo code HOOPBALL and get your first deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. So if you put in $250, you get an extra $125 to play with, and so on and so forth. Again, enter the promo code HOOPBALL upon signing up and have your first deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. I also want to give a shout out over to our guys at Manscaped, the #1 men's below the waist belt grooming out there. It is absolutely fantastic, and they have a new product, the Ultra Package 4.0, with the Lawnmower 4.0 and all the good stuff that comes with it, like the Crop Reviver and everything else. When you're signing up, when you're checking out, enter the promo code HoopBall20, get 20% off your purchase and free shipping. That's 20% off your purchase and free shipping with the promo code HoopBall20.
If you've ever been a renter, you know it's stressful to find a place with everything you love and nothing you don't. But did you know Zillow does rentals? It makes the search so easy. They have filters for pretty much everything, so you can find that place that's in your budget, but also isn't a shoebox. Or a place that's close to your parents, but far enough they have to call first. Plus, it's easy to apply, request tours, and pay rent in the app. Head to ZillowRentals.com and find your sweet spot.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
All right, guys and gals, let's get on to this Game 6 of the NBA Finals for DFS purposes. We have the Suns traveling to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks for a 223 game total. The Bucks are 5-point home favorites. On the injury report, we have Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Dante DiVincenzo out for the Bucks, Dario Saric out for the Suns. None of those three people should be back before, if there is a Game 7. Saric tore his ACL. DiVincenzo had ankle surgery. Thanasis is in the health and safety protocols. Let's get on to the DFS lineup. We'll start with the Suns. They are the away team. We'll start with the guy on top. Devin Booker has dropped back-to-back games of 40-plus actual points. He has been on a heater. He is 34 of his last 61 from the field. Coincidentally, he's only taken 7 total threes and made 2 of them. You'd think he'd be a lot more lethal from the three-point line when he scored back-to-back games of 40 points. I'm really not looking to spend up for him. I think he could, again, put 40 points up. But he hasn't really done much else outside of scoring points. Last game, he did chip in 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Got him 55. The game before that, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 block. Then you add in a couple less points for turnovers. I mean, he only had 46 in the game before that after dropping 42 real points. So he's not – his main role right now is just scoring the basketball, which is awesome. But I don't know if we necessarily need to pay 10-4 for that. I am looking more towards Chris Paul right now. People talk – if you listen to any sports radio show, sports talk show on what seems like an endless amount of talking heads out there, they talk about legacies a lot. And if we're going to bring up legacies, Chris Paul's legacy is definitely in play here. Whether you think that's a nice narrative or not, whatever the case may be, don't love talking about all that stuff, but this is an elimination game. This guy had a terrible game 4, bounced back with 21 and 11 in game 5. A lot of that happened in the first quarter, though. He was really, really good to start the game. The Suns came out like gangbusters, just opened up to a 16-point lead, and then they gave it right back. Chris Paul needs to play much better. He needs to do everything on this court, and I'm willing to pay $9K for him. I think that's a very good price, and I'm using the utility prices over here. I don't mind putting Chris Paul in my captain spot. I think he's going to have himself a game. Also, DeAndre Ayton at 8-2. Like paying up for him. Last 2 games, he's had pretty much 40 points on average. That's solid. You're hitting value there, especially in a showdown slate where everybody's price is a little bit higher. I like that. And I know he's going to be playing a lot of minutes. He played 45 in the last one, 39 in the one before that. Since Saric got hurt, they need Ayton to play as many minutes as he can handle. They didn't even play Kaminsky. They saw the last 2 games Kaminsky hasn't played. They saw what happened when he did play. It wasn't pretty. So they're not really playing Kaminsky. They're going to give Ayton as many minutes as he can handle. So at 8-2, I like that. Outside of that, I'm looking. There's really nobody. Both these teams are running tight 8-man rotations. Pretty much 7-man and then extra. If you look at both of them, the last 2 games, there's not much to dig down there in the bargain bin. But I don't mind looking at a guy like Cam Johnson. I think his price dropped a little bit more. I remember he jumped up to the 6K range not too long ago, but now he's back down 4-4. It's a little bit higher than he was in the last couple, but yeah, he's consistently bringing back double-digit points, and that's nice. We know he has the upside to hit some shots, etc., and play 20-plus minutes, so I don't mind going Cam Johnson there. Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder are only options for me if I fall on them. I don't really want to go fishing for those points or for those price tags. At 7-4 and 6-6, it's a little bit pricier. I do prefer Bridges of the two, but I'm not really fishing for those. I really like Paul, Ayton, and Cam Johnson is not a bad play there. Campaign also not a bad play, or Torrey Craig if you're really fishing for throw people in. Torrey Craig might play 10 to 15 minutes at 2-6 if you need that. That's fine. Campaign, I just prefer Cam Johnson a little bit more. Not that much to go on here on both teams with their tight 7/8 man rotations. They're playing 8 people. That 8th person's barely playing. Yeah, if you look at the last game, Teague played 8 minutes. He was the 8th man. Torrey Craig played 9. Pretty much been like that. And why wouldn't it be? It's the finals. We're not digging deep down into the rotation here. On the Bucks side of the ball, we have a closeout game. We can see Giannis close this game out. We can see Middleton close this game out. I've been saying it for a while. Chris Middleton at home has been much better than on the road. Just look at the last game. He still dropped 29 points, but he only scored 44 fantasy points before that. Dropped 40 at home, 58.5 fantasy points, then 38, 34. Chris Middleton is a solid play here. I prefer him a little bit more than Devin Booker on the other side of the ball. They are virtually the same price. Booker slightly more. I'd rather just go to Middleton. Giannis is Giannis. If you can get him in your lineup, why wouldn't you? If you have to go like Middleton, Paul, Ayton, Holiday, that's perfectly fine too. You're going to have to spend money to get people in this lineup. But Holiday had a fantastic game, easily his best of the series, possibly his best of the playoffs in that last one. That strip alley-oop, very memorable. Everybody's going to remember that one. He dropped 27 points, 13 assists, 4 rebounds for 61.5 fantasy points. Does he do that again? Probably not. He's only he did it in the Atlanta series one game, but you can't expect him to have that again. Even still, I still like him. I do prefer Chris Paul to him at that nearly the same price tag. Chris Paul's $600 discount. I'd rather go there, but I don't mind Holiday. If I'm squeezing in Holiday, I probably won't have any Giannis, but I want Giannis the most. Middleton there, I think he's a little bit better than Booker, but I'm going to throw as many big top dollar guys as I can get in there. Pat Connaughton finally getting some more respect. He keeps creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. He was my favorite value play for a while because he never moved, and then he jumped up to 4-2 a couple games ago. Then 4-8. Now he's at 5-2. So it's very. I don't know how much exposure I'll get to him, but I probably would have more of. I'll have more of Connaughton than I would of a guy like Jay Crowder I mentioned on the other side. A couple $1,000 less and could bring similar production. He's been on heater from the 3-point line lately. He's been just chucking pretty much almost all. I should say. Almost all of his shots have come from the 3-point line. If he's shooting, it's mostly a 3-pointer. And he's been hitting them right now. He's playing 30 minutes plus in all 4 of his last games, so he's playing a lot of minutes. They need him on the floor. They don't really have any other guard options or wing options without DiVincenzo there. They're not really playing Jeff Teague. He only played 8 minutes, and that's the only other guy in the rotation on the bench outside of Bobby Portis, who's not a wing, not a guard. So Connaughton's playing a ton of minutes whenever the starters need a breather, or PJ Tucker. Speaking of PJ Tucker at 3,400, yeah, I'll have some PJ Tucker. He's not huge on upside, but I'm going to need to stick some people in there that don't cost a lot of money, and PJ Tucker is that guy. Outside of that, not really looking at too much else. Here, if you want to throw in Jeff Teague, you can and hope for a couple points, but I don't think that's reasonable. He's probably not going to play much. I think PJ Tucker is going to be my favorite guy under 4K and probably the only guy under 4K I'll take unless I can really, unless I'm really pushing it there. But we know we're looking at Middleton. It's a home game. It's a closeout game. Middleton's much better at home efficiency-wise, so I'm expecting a big bounce back there in terms of fantasy production. Giannis, obviously. Connaughton, a little bit more expensive, but he's still a rock-solid value mid-tier play there. And PJ Tucker, he's just the only guy under 4K that you can actually play and you know he's going to get minutes. All right, so that does it for the showdown slate. Little less cut and dry. I mean, it's the finals, game 6. We're going to have to load up on starters one way or the other. Even Brook Lopez, who I glanced over, wouldn't mind throwing him in there. I don't think the upside is huge, and I probably won't have much of him at all. But, I mean, he might fall on that 5-6K range, and not bad there. But I'm trying to get as many big guys as possible. But we'll go to the player tiers because I know everyone likes that. I'll start with my value play because I think I already said it. PJ Tucker, I know he's going to get the minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. If he's not in foul trouble, he'll play over 30 minutes. If he is, which he has been in the last 3 games, I'll play around 25 to 30 minutes. But they need him there. They like him on Booker. Hasn't really stopped him the last 2 games. Booker's been on a heater, but they're still going to trot him out there. And my favorite mid-tier play, well, that's next. There's not really great options for me, but I'll throw in Connaughton. I just think he's on a heater. They're back at home. Role players play better at home than they do on the road. And he's getting open shots. He's playing a lot of minutes. While PJ Tucker is in foul trouble and there's no one else on the bench that is threatening his minutes or threatening his role, he's soaking up all that. And while he's hitting shots, they're going to keep him in the game even longer. So Connaughton at 5.2 is solid to me. And my favorite spend up of the night. And that's where it gets a little interesting, huh? Because we have, that's pretty much the entire field here. 6 players. 6 players over the 8K mark. And there's only 14 players that are seeing a nice chunk of minutes. So almost half the field is over that 8K mark on utility alone. I'm going to go with Chris Paul. Chris Paul is going to be the guy I'm spending up on. I'm going to be spending up on quite a few of them, but Chris Paul is the one that's going to be making the most of my lineups. Probably going to have him mostly in my captain spot. I think 9K, you get a nice discount, and you can fit a lot of these other guys in there as well, comparatively. Ayton is the only other high-priced guy that's less than him. And this is probably the first and only time that Chris Paul is going to make a finals, unless he jumps to a stacked team next year or in the years following. He had his best chance. They were up 2-0. People are talking about, oh my God, he's really not the point guard. Is he really a point guard? Et cetera, all this legacy stuff on the line. But down 3-2 on the road, Chris Paul is going, I gonna bet whatever I got that Chris Paul comes in and plays like the Chris Paul we all know. Get this to a game 7, get this back home. Don't know what will happen in Game 7. I still think the Bucks will win the series, but anything happens in a Game 7, and that's the 2 best words in sports. And I think Chris Paul will get them there. One way or the other, his stats going to look really nice in this, and I think the 9K price tag is just really nice. $600 less than Drew Holiday, $1,400 less than his teammate Booker. I just think that's a fantastic price for a guy who and of all the people, Chris Paul needs a massive game the most, in my opinion. And that's why I'm going to go with him. But thank you guys for joining us. Can't wait to watch this game just like everyone. Going back to Milwaukee, Game 6. I thought the home court was going to stay in Game 5. And then I thought home court was going to stay in Game 6 again. And then I thought Game 7 was the first time it might change. And the Bucks taking it in 7. I still think it's going to go... should go 7. Yeah, it's very hard to see how the Suns started off so hot, won the first 2 games and looked great doing it. Traveled to Milwaukee, lost, came home, started off hot. Then the second quarter was just a complete 180, and then they lost in the waning moments. Now they're down 3-2. They started off 2-0. Now they lost 3 straight. I just can't imagine them losing 4 straight. That's a tough pill to swallow for anybody, especially guys like Chris Paul, Booker, James Jones, GM, everybody there. So I'm leaning towards the Suns here, but we'll see. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will catch you again, possibly, for Game 7, which I think we all want to see in the NBA Finals. Game 7 will be on Thursday. If there is one, it will be in Phoenix, and it will start at 9 p.m. This one in Milwaukee starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm on the East Coast, and I got to say, I hate games starting at 9, 10. It's rough for the next day of work. But thank you guys for joining us, and have a good night. Peace.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.
Looking for a brew unique to you? Find it at Kroger. Discover distinctly different chameleon organic ground coffee with flavors like Guatemala and Dark and Handsome. They're so organic, so sustainable, and so good. Visit Kroger today to get yours.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.